Patricia Moore from HR placed a single sheet of paper on the conference table. Derek Hammond's face went from confident to confused to terrified in about 5 seconds. Mr. Hammond, this is the background verification report we just received. According to this, the MBA from Northwestern you claim on your resume doesn't exist. Neither does your previous position as Director of Operations at Westfield Industries. Would you care to explain? Derek had stolen my promotion 3 weeks earlier by convincing executives he had qualifications I lacked. He'd called me unqualified in front of the entire department. Turns out, his entire career was built on lies, and I had the proof that brought it all crashing down. My name is Alicia Rodriguez. I'm 29 years old, engaged to my fiancé Marcus, and for 5 years I've worked at Apex Corporate Solutions in Denver, a business consulting firm specializing in operational efficiency. I started as an entry-level analyst fresh out of college. Within 3 years, I was a senior analyst. By year 4, I was leading client projects that brought in millions in revenue. I was good at my job and everyone knew it. My performance reviews were exceptional. Clients specifically requested me for their projects. My project success rate was 92%, highest in the company. I was on track for promotion to associate director. My boss, the regional VP, had told me directly, "Alicia, the next associate director position is yours. You've earned it." Then Derek Hammond transferred to our office. Derek was 42, supposedly came from our Chicago office with an impressive background, MBA from Northwestern, 10 years of management experience, previous role as Director of Operations at some big firm called Westfield Industries. On paper, he looked perfect for leadership. In reality, he was a disaster. Within his first month, it became clear Derek didn't actually know how to do the work he was supposedly managing. He'd sit in strategy meetings and contribute nothing useful. When clients asked technical questions, he'd deflect to team members or give vague non-answers. But he was great at one thing: talking. He could speak confidently about concepts without saying anything substantive. He used corporate buzzwords like synergy and paradigm shifts constantly. He schmoozed executives at every opportunity. My colleague Jake noticed it immediately. "Alicia, is it just me, or does Derek not actually know what he's doing?" "It's not just you. He sits in my project meetings and contributes nothing, then takes credit when we present to clients." Classic corporate climber. All talk, no substance. I didn't worry about it much at first. My work spoke for itself, and I had a promotion coming. Then the associate director position officially opened. I applied immediately. So did Derek. I had 5 years at the company, dozens of successful projects, glowing performance reviews, and direct recommendation from my regional VP. Derek had been in our office for 4 months. The interview process was straightforward. Present a case study, answer questions from the executive panel, demonstrate strategic thinking. I prepared for 3 weeks. I chose one of my most successful projects, a client engagement where I'd reduce their operational costs by 38% while improving efficiency. I had data, testimonials, measurable results. My presentation was flawless. The executives asked tough questions. I had answers for everything. I walked out feeling confident. Derek's interview was the next day. I didn't attend, obviously, but Jake did. He was asked to provide technical support for the case studies. He called me that evening. "Alicia, Derek's presentation was mediocre at best. He chose a project he'd barely worked on and took credit for other people's work. Half his data was wrong." "So I should have this promotion locked down?" You'd think, but he spent 20 minutes after the formal interview schmoozing the executives, talking about his MBA, his experience at Westfield, his leadership philosophy. You know how executives love that stuff. I wasn't worried. My work was objectively better. The decision was supposed to come within a week. 2 weeks passed. Nothing. I followed up with HR. "We're still in deliberations. You'll hear soon." Week 3. I got called into a meeting with Patricia Moore, VP of Human Resources, and our regional VP. "Alicia, thank you for your patience. The associate director decision has been made. We've selected Derek Hammond for the position." I felt like I'd been punched. Derek? He's been here 4 months. I've been here 5 years with a proven track record. Derek brings a level of experience and educational background that we felt was important for this leadership role. His MBA and previous director-level position gave him an edge. I have measurable results. I have client testimonials. Alicia, this isn't about your performance. You're an excellent analyst. But Derek has the strategic leadership experience we need at the director level. This decision is final. I walked out of that meeting in shock. Jake found me at my desk an hour later. I'm so sorry. This is complete bullshit. He's been here 4 months, Jake. I know, and between us, I don't think he's qualified at all, but he has that fancy MBA and the executives eat up his corporate speak. That night, I went home and told Marcus everything. They promoted someone with 4 months over you after 5 years of excellent work? Because he has an MBA and previous director experience, apparently, and I don't. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Alicia, something doesn't add up. Guy shows up, barely does any real work, but has this impressive resume that gets him promoted over someone clearly more qualified. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe his resume isn't as impressive as it looks. Have you actually verified any of his background? I hadn't. Why would I? That's HR's job. But Marcus's question planted a seed. The next day, I did something I'm not particularly proud of, but don't regret. I looked up Derek Hammond on LinkedIn. His profile matched what he'd told the company. MBA from Northwestern, Kellogg School of Management. Previous position, Director of Operations at Westfield Industries for 6 years. But something caught my eye. His LinkedIn said he graduated from Northwestern in 2008. That would make him... I did the math. If he graduated college at 22, got his MBA at 24 in 2008, he'd be 41 now, not 42. Small detail, could be nothing, but I was curious now. I started digging deeper, carefully and quietly. First, I looked up Northwestern's Kellogg School of Management alumni directory. It's publicly searchable for networking purposes. I searched for Derek Hammond, graduation year 2008. No results. I tried 2007, 2009, different spelling variations. Nothing. That was strange, but not conclusive. Maybe he wasn't in the directory. Maybe he used a different name. Next, I looked up Westfield Industries, his supposed previous employer. Their website listed executive team members, but no historical information about directors. I called their main line during lunch, pretending to be verifying employment for a background check. Hi, I'm calling to verify previous employment for Derek Hammond. He listed Director of Operations from 2012 to 2018. One moment, please. Long pause. Then, ma'am, I don't show any record of a Derek Hammond in our employment database for those years. Are you sure you have the right company? Westfield Industries, correct? Yes, that's us, but no Derek Hammond in our records. Would you like to speak to HR? No, that's fine, thank you. I hung up and just sat there. His MBA didn't check out. His previous employment didn't check out. What else was fabricated? I needed to be careful. I couldn't just accuse Derek of lying without solid proof, but I also couldn't let this go. I called Emily Brooks. She was a recruiter I'd worked with years ago when I first joined Apex. We'd stayed in touch. Emily, hypothetically, if someone lied on their resume about education and work history, how would that typically get caught? Background checks, but those usually happen before hiring. Why? Hypothetically, what if someone slipped through? What if they fabricated credentials and no one verified? Then someone needs to request a formal background verification. HR can do it, but they need a legitimate reason, like a complaint or an inconsistency that comes to light. What counts as legitimate reason? Discrepancies in information, concerns from colleagues about qualifications, basically anything that raises red flags about the accuracy of their employment records. I thanked her and hung up. I spent that weekend gathering evidence. I documented everything I'd found: the missing Northwestern records, the Westfield Industries denial, the age discrepancy. But I needed more. Accusations without overwhelming proof would just make me look like a bitter employee who didn't get promoted. Then Jake sent me a message Monday morning. "Alicia, you need to see this." He forwarded me an email Derek had sent to the executive team. Subject: Strategic Initiative Proposal. I opened it. Derek was proposing a complete restructuring of our client engagement process. The proposal was detailed, well-written, and looked extremely familiar. Because it was my proposal. Word for word. I'd written it 6 months ago and presented it to my team. It had been shelved due to timing, but I still had my original document. Derek had stolen my proposal, changed the header to his name, and presented it to executives as his own strategic thinking. That was it. That was the final piece. I compiled everything. LinkedIn discrepancies, Northwestern verification showing no records, Westfield Industries employment denial, my original proposal with timestamps versus Derek's stolen version, documentation of his lack of actual work contributions. Then I requested a meeting with Patricia Moore in HR. "Patricia, I need to report a serious concern about Derek Hammond's qualifications and conduct." She looked uncomfortable. "Alicia, if this is about the promotion decision..." "It's not. It's about fraud. Derek falsified his resume, and I have proof." That got her attention. "That's a serious accusation." "I know. That's why I have documentation." I walked her through everything. The MBA that didn't exist, the employment history that couldn't be verified, the stolen proposal, the timeline inconsistencies. Patricia's expression went from skeptical to concerned to alarmed. "Alicia, you understand that if these allegations are false, this could be considered defamation." "I understand. That's why everything I'm telling you is verifiable. Call Northwestern, call Westfield Industries, check the timestamps on the proposal documents. I'm not making accusations, I'm reporting facts." She was quiet for a long moment. "Leave this with me. Don't discuss this with anyone else. I need to investigate." "How long will that take?" "As long as it takes to do it properly. And, Alicia, if you're right about this, thank you for bringing it forward." The next 2 weeks were torture. I had no idea what was happening with the investigation. Derek continued acting as associate director. Business continued as normal. Jake was the only person I'd told. "Any update?" "Nothing. HR is investigating, but I don't know what they've found." "What if they don't believe you?" "Then I start looking for a new job, because I can't work at a company that promotes fraud over competence." Week 3, Patricia called me into her office. This time, our regional VP and the company's legal counsel were there too. My stomach dropped. Was I in trouble for making the report? Patricia started. "Alicia, I want to thank you for bringing the concerns about Derek Hammond to our attention. We've completed our investigation." I held my breath. Derek Hammond's MBA from Northwestern doesn't exist. The registrar has no record of him. His claimed employment at Westfield Industries is fabricated. They have no record of him ever working there. We've also discovered that he falsified references and lied about his role at our Chicago office. He was a mid-level project manager there, not a senior strategist as he claimed. The legal counsel spoke next. "Mr. Hammond committed resume fraud and misrepresented his qualifications to obtain employment benefits, specifically the promotion. This is grounds for immediate termination and possible legal action." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Patricia continued, "We're terminating Derek's employment today. We're also reviewing our background check procedures to understand how this happened. And Alicia," she paused, "the associate director position is yours. It should have been from the beginning. I apologize that our failure to properly verify credentials led to this situation." An hour later, I watched from my desk as Derek was called into the executive conference room. He walked in looking confident, probably thought he was getting praise for his strategic initiative. The meeting lasted 15 minutes. He emerged looking like he'd seen a ghost. Patricia and a security guard escorted him to his office. He packed his things into a box while everyone watched. No one said anything. As he was walked out, he saw me. Our eyes met. He knew. He knew I was the one who'd exposed him. "You did this." "No. You did this when you lied on your resume and stole my work." Security kept him moving. He left the building and never came back. The next day, Patricia called a department meeting. She didn't mention Derek by name, but she made an announcement. Due to credential verification issues, the previous associate director appointment has been rescinded. Alicia Rodriguez is now our associate director, effective immediately. There was applause. Jake was grinning. Even people who barely knew me looked pleased. After the meeting, several colleagues approached me privately. I knew something was off about Derek. I also learned something interesting. I wasn't his first victim. Derek had apparently pulled similar stunts at previous companies. He'd managed to stay ahead of background checks by moving companies every few years before anyone dug too deep. This time, he got caught. The company overhauled their background verification process. Now they verify everything: education, employment history, references. They even hired a specialized firm to conduct comprehensive checks on all employees above a certain level. Several other employees had credentials that didn't quite check out. Nothing as blatant as Derek's fabrications, but exaggerations and embellishments. They were given chances to correct their records or let go if the discrepancies were significant. The culture shifted. People started focusing more on actual results rather than impressive-sounding credentials. Performance mattered more than pedigree. I'd accidentally triggered a company-wide reckoning with credential inflation. Emily, the recruiter, called me a few months later. "Alicia, I heard what happened with Derek Hammond. That took guts." I just reported facts. HR did the investigation. Still, most people wouldn't. They'd assume someone else verified credentials. They'd let it go. You didn't. I couldn't. He stole my promotion with a fake resume. That's not okay. Well, your name is getting around the industry. In a good way. People know you as someone who stands up for integrity. That's valuable. She was right. I've been contacted by 3 recruiting firms in the past month. One offered me a director position at a competitor with 50% more salary than I'm making now. I declined. I like where I am. I like my team. And honestly, I like that I'm building something real based on actual competence, not fabricated credentials. People ask if I feel bad about destroying Derek's career. I don't. He destroyed his own career by building it on lies. I just exposed the truth. Derek didn't get fired because I was vindictive. He got fired because he committed fraud. He fabricated an MBA, invented employment history, and stole other people's work to maintain his charade. The promotion he stole from me? He didn't earn it. He lied his way into it. Here's what I learned. Always verify. Don't assume credentials are accurate just because someone put them on a resume. Companies fail at background checks all the time. People slip through. But more importantly, competence matters more than credentials. Derek had an impressive-sounding background. I had actual results. When the lies were stripped away, results won. I also learned that speaking up is worth it, even when it's scary. I could have stayed quiet, accepted the promotion loss, moved on. But that would have meant letting fraud succeed. Instead, I gathered evidence, reported facts, and let the truth speak for itself. Derek bet his career on lies catching up to him. He lost that bet. I bet on documentation and integrity. I won. The associate director promotion I earned? It means more because I truly earned it. Not through fabrication or manipulation, but through 5 years of actual work. My MBA might not be from Northwestern, but it's real. My work history might not include fake director positions, but every achievement on my resume actually happened, and that's worth more than any lie Derek Hammond ever told. Sometimes the best revenge isn't what you do to someone, it's watching the truth do it for you. And truth always wins, eventually.